Welcome! This video will provide an overview of Mercury's new 75, 90, and 115 4-stroke outboards oil system. This will include how to check the oils Mercury recommends for these engines, and how to change the oil on your new 4-stroke outboard. This video will also demonstrate step by step how to change the oil for the 75, 90, and 115 horsepower 4-stroke outboards. It is recommended that you review the steps in your user manual throughout the duration of this video. It is recommended that Mercury Marine or Quicksilver 10W30 4-stroke engine oil is used for your 75, 90, or 115 horsepower 4-stroke outboard. If these oils are not available, a major outboard manufacturer brand of NMMA FCW certified 4-stroke outboard oil of similar viscosity may be used. It is important to note that the use of non-detergent oils, multi-viscosity oils, low-quality oils, or oils that contain solid additives are not recommended for use. Refer to the owner's manual for more information. Before you can check the oil on your 75, 90, or 115 horsepower 4-stroke outboard, the cowl will need to be removed. To do this, just pull the rear cowl latch out away from the outboard. Then, lift the top cowl up and off the engine. First procedure that will be demonstrated is how to check the oil on your 75, 90, or 115 4-stroke outboard. For the most accurate measurement, it's best to trim your outboard up beyond a vertical position for approximately 1 minute to allow trapped oil to drain back to the oil sump. Then, trim the outboard back to a vertical position when checking the oil. For the most accurate readings, check the oil when the engine is cold or after the engine has sat for at least 1 hour after being ran. Pull out the dipstick. Wipe the dipstick with a clean rag or towel and push it back all the way in. Pull the dipstick back out and observe the oil level. Oil should be in the operating range or the cross-hatched region. It is important to note, do not try and fill the oil to the top of the operating range or cross-hatched region. The oil level is correct as long as it appears in the cross-hatched region. If the oil is below the cross-hatched region, the engine will need oil added. Next, remove the oil filler cap and add oil a little at a time of the recommended outboard engine oil. Allow a few minutes for the added oil to drain to the oil sump and then check the level on the dipstick. Repeat this process until the oil level reaches the operating range or cross-hatched region. Once the oil is in the operating range, push the dipstick back all the way in, install the oil fill cap hand tight, and finally put the top cowl back on. When checking the oil on your 4-stroke outboard, it's always a good idea to inspect the oil for signs of contamination. Here are a few tips on what to look for. Oil contaminated with water will have a milky color to it, and oil contaminated with fuel will have a strong fuel smell. If contaminated oil is discovered, have the engine checked by your nearest certified Mercury Marine dealer. Changing the oil on the 75, 90, or 115 horsepower 4-stroke outboard is a simple process and only requires a few tools. It is important to have a 12mm ID drain hose, an oil pan, a 16mm wrench, the recommended Mercury Marine 4-stroke oil, and your owner's manual. Also recommended that you have a special oil filter attachment for your socket wrench, as this will greatly aid in the removal of the oil filter. However, this is not required. In this section of the video, we will now demonstrate how to change the oil on your brand new Mercury Marine 4-stroke outboard. The engine oil capacity on your 75, 90, or 115 4-stroke outboard is approximately 5 liters or 5.3 US quarts. Just like checking the oil, tilt the outboard up past the vertical position for roughly 1 minute to allow any trapped oil to drain back into the oil sump. Tilt the engine back to the vertical position. Next, grab a 16mm wrench and loosen the oil drain valve so that it can be turned by hand. Use caution and do not open the valve too far, allowing oil to drain out. Attach a 12mm ID drain hose to the oil drain valve and then position the opposite end of the hose into an appropriate container. Now, loosen the oil drain valve 2 1/2 turns to allow oil to drain. Do not exceed 2 1/2 turns. Doing so could cause damage to the oil seal. Once the oil has drained completely, hand tighten the oil drain valve and remove the oil drain hose. Then, tighten the oil drain valve to the specified torque, which is 133 pounds per square inch. Do not over-tighten the oil drain valve, as it could cause damage to the oil sump. It's now time to remove the oil filter. Remove the plug from the oil trough and attach a 12mm ID drain hose to the fitting. Position the opposite end of the hose into an appropriate container. Next, unscrew the old filter by turning it to the left. Allow the oil in the trough to drain. Remove the oil drain hose and clean any excess oil from the oil trough and reinstall the plug. Now it's time to install the new oil filter. First, clean the oil filter mounting base, and then apply a film of clean oil to the filter gasket. Do not use grease. Finally, screw the new filter on until the gasket contacts the base. Then tighten it 3/4 to 1 turn. Finally, it's time to refill the oil in your 4-stroke outboard. Remove the oil fill cap and add approximately 5 liters or 5.3 US quarts of the Mercury Marine 4-stroke oils recommended earlier in this video. This will bring the oil level within the midpoint of the operating range. Once the engine oil is in the operating range, idle the engine for 5 minutes and check for any leaks. After running the engine at idle, let it cool for at least an hour and check the oil level in the same manner that was demonstrated earlier in this video. Once the oil and oil filter have been changed on your Mercury 4-stroke outboard, put the top cowl back on the engine. To do this, bring the front of the cowl down first and engage the front cowl hook. Next, lower the cowl into the seated position and apply pressure to the back of the cowl to lock it in place. To ensure the cowl is securely fastened, try to pull up on the back of the cowl. That concludes this demonstration on how to check and change the oil on your 75, 90, or 115 horsepower 4-stroke outboard. Thank you for watching, and remember to regularly maintain your Mercury outboard. You can find your nearest certified Mercury Marine dealer at www.mercurymarine.com.